My name is Leonard Leland Brunk. I'm the author of this novel, Legatum. It is available at Barnes & Noble, Borders, Amazon. It's also available for your Kindle. I'm not here to talk about my book, though, today. I'm here to talk about the importance of the written word, the power of the written word. There's not much that I'm sure of, but I'm sure of this. There is nothing more powerful than the written word. There's nothing more important than reading and writing. I'm sure we've heard that time and time again from Sesame Street to our teachers in high school. But it's something to think about. When we were children, our imaginations were so vast. What we thought of, what we believed we were capable of, what our vision was in life when we were grown. We look back now and we're so quick to say, oh, I was just a kid, my childlike imagination. Well, I want to tell you, within a few minutes, I want to convince you that your imagination then made you wiser than you are today. At least that was the case for me. Now, even though I claim that I am certain that there is nothing more powerful than the written word, logic may prove otherwise in mathematics, because they say there is no absolute truth but that which is in mathematics. Well, Albert Einstein said there is nothing more important than the imagination, even more important than knowledge. Now, the written word is so powerful it confirms three things that may sound fantastic to you, may sound like I'm out there. But I'll explain it to you. It explains three things that are straight out of a child's imagination. One, the written word proves the evidence of telepathy. Stephen King touches on this on his book on writing. Now, you may not care for Stephen King, you may not like horror authors in particular, but his book on writing is critically acclaimed, and I recommend you check it out. He confirms what I'm saying now about the written word being the evidence of telepathy. If you think about it, it's simple. Someone who's written a book like Homer's Legacy, speaking of the history on the Trojan War, he's written it thousands of years ago. When I open up Homer's Legacy, I'm literally seeing the world through someone's eyes thousands of years ago. I am standing in the bootstraps of Paris, of Troy, of Hector, of Odysseus. I am seeing through their eyes. I am seeing the way the world was then. I'm seeing the way they viewed humanity then. And it's amazing if you think about it. So the written word, reading and writing, is so important because it causes us to communicate with each other, even though we're not face to face. Even though you can't see the words coming out of my mouth, even though you can't hear my voice. If I write it down on paper and I put that message away, years later you can open that paper, you can open that book and feel what I was feeling years ago. You can hear my voice in your imagination, in your mind. Two, the written word is so powerful that another fantastical thought is that it's the evidence of time travel. Going in hand with what I just said about telepathy. When I read Homer's Legacy, when I read Charles Dickens, I know what it's like to walk down the paved roads in the misty night of the Gothic atmosphere in ancient Europe. I know what it's like to open Homer's Legacy and walk in the shoes again of Odysseus or someone who lived thousands upon thousands of years ago. I see their philosophy. I see their mindset. I feel their emotional state. They are communicating with me and taking me back in time to their adventures, to their romance, to their tragedy. The written word is so powerful. Reading and writing is so important to experience full-heartedly because it takes you through time, a journey through time. It's the evidence of telepathy. It's the evidence of time travel. And most importantly, the written word can inspire you when nothing else can. Think about it. Have you ever wanted to comfort a loved one, but you couldn't find the words? Emotionally, you understood what you wanted to communicate to them, but the words just didn't come out. Well, if you read enough, and if you write down your feelings in your journals, just experience reading and writing in your life. When you need to comfort someone, when you need to counsel someone, if you can't find the right words, you'll remember an author who has the right words. You can recommend a book to that person. Or you can recommend a quote from your favorite writer or favorite motivational speaker. Something that inspired you when you were feeling down like your loved one. The written word can inspire you. I have read books about people during the Holocaust, hidden in an attic. A Jew who was hiding from the Nazis, and he was up there alone, neglected for years, hiding out, being fed food through a door by the people who allowed him to hide out there. And all he had to help him escape from this horrible reality he was in, the only thing he had to keep him from going insane while he was locked up in that attic, was the books that were set out for him. And under candlelight, this Jew, during World War II, he would read these books over and over and over again. And he got lost in this world. He got lost in this world, and he was inspired and hopeful. And next thing he knew, years went by, American soldiers came in, and he was free. And the only thing that kept him sane, the only thing that inspired him to go on, was no individual, no person there for him to lean on their shoulder, no one to cry with him, no one to inspire him in person. All that kept him going was getting lost in the world within that book that he would open, within those few books that he had available to him to read under candlelight. That's what kept him going. That's what inspired him. Now today, we have YouTube, thank God. And we have films, media. But what's dangerous is we're forgetting the power of the written word. We're forgetting what it was like to use our imagination as a child. When we were a child, we had a vision. We saw this grand world, and it was so vast and amazing to us. But then adults, not purposely trying to break us or hurt us, but they would tell us things like, "You're just being a child." They would convince us to grow up. We lost something when that happened. This is the last thing I'm going to say about my soapbox lecture on the importance of the written word and how powerful it is. The last thing I'm going to say is my personal experience. When I was about 24 years old, I went to visit with my mother. I was in the Army. I had leave. I went to visit her, and I opened an old journal of mine. And I was reading my words from when I was a child. And I read this excerpt of mine when I was like 8 or 9 years old, and I was very depressed. And I recognized my father was losing his business. He worked so hard for it. He earned so much for us, and he was losing his entire business. It was being taken from him. And in my words that I wrote as a child, I was looking at them, and I was asking questions like, why do these horrible things happen to someone who worked so hard and gained so much, and they were deserving of all of it? Why do they lose? Why do they lose it all when someone who's undeserving and selfish seems to have so much just thrown to them? So many blessings just go their way. They gain an empire when someone like my father loses everything. I was asking these questions as a child, being depressed, wondering why my dad was losing his home, his business, and everything. But at the bottom of that page, I wrote down, I don't know why this is happening, but I believe there is a reason. And for some reason, I think the answer lies in balance. Balance, I wrote. Last word I wrote on that page. A little boy. And when I was 20-something years old and I opened that journal, I was like thinking to myself, I don't think like that now. To me, that my attitude was, life's a bitch and then you die. That was my mindset as an adult. How mature was that? Yet then when I read my words as a child, I don't remember writing them, but I recognized my handwriting. It was in my old journal. It was as if I was communicating to myself telepathically through time, inspiring myself with the wisdom I had through my imagination as a child. What did we lose as adults? What have we lost because of our lack of understanding the importance and the power of the written word? I'm going to get off my soapbox now. I assure you that my books, my short stories, my articles are not lectures. It's all imagination. I go from gothic to erotic to adventure to mystery. Check out Legatum, check out Between Shadow and Light, Google LL Brunk. I promise they're not novels or lectures or philosophy. They're all fiction. I just felt that there was a message I had to share, and this was the outlet to share it. Thank you for listening. I promise I'm a better writer than I am a speaker.